Hi, hello, and welcome. I'm here today with Toni V. Martin. I'm so excited to be meeting with you today and hearing a bit about your business analysis career story. Thank you for being here, Toni.
Thank you, as always, for having me.
Yeah, and I jumped right in. I forgot I'm Laura Brandenburg with Bridging the Gap, and Toni had participated in our BA Essentials Masterclass. We were just recollecting before we started the recording back in 2016. And today she's doing amazing things in her career and with her business. And we probably should have done this years ago, but we finally got to sit down and actually talk a little bit more about her story. So Toni, if you could kind of just take us back to 2015, 2016, kind of where you were at in your career and kind of what you were looking for next.
Yeah. Sure. So a little bit of background, I guess, before that is that I was coming from a PR and marketing background where I had worked for an agency and done some sales enablement things. So I had a kind of variety of experiences in marketing and sales operations, that type of thing. And I was looking to make a career shift. I wanted more money and more satisfaction in my career. And I actually got reacquainted with Salesforce.com. And for those who are not familiar, it's a commercial off-the-shelf software as a service platform that helps businesses optimize and automate their processes. And it's something that I had used in a past role, and I did that kind of inventory where you start to think, what have I done that I really liked? And Salesforce came to the forefront, and I discovered that there was a whole community and resources and a path to start to, kind of make that my career. In the Salesforce world, there are a few popular tracks. One of them is to be an administrator. That's the person who maybe works with the end users. And then there's the developer track, which is more technical and deals with the coding portion of it. And neither of those felt right for me. And I got involved in my local community here in Atlanta, and someone said to me, well, you probably should be a business analyst. And my immediate reaction was, oh no, I couldn't do that. I'm not qualified. And not knowing what it meant to be a business analyst. So that led me to research, and I stumbled upon your information, your resources, the Bridging the Gap website, and just dove headfirst into all of your articles, your book, your freebies, and really got a full grasp of what the profession was and understood that I actually was a business analyst already. The work I had been performing was BA tasks, and I just didn't know that. And so that helped me kind of, sure, you had a question.
Yeah, no, that's huge. I feel like so often people find Bridging the Gap and they think that they're starting a business analyst career, right? But there's this sense of awareness that happens of no, I actually have been doing business analysis. So what were some of the specifics that you identified, like the experiences or the skills that you had that you were able to bring forward?
Well, for me, just the process of analyzing and assessing what the pain points were for the businesses that I worked with, for the clients that I worked with, and outlining a solution. In the Salesforce world, as a Salesforce BA, I may take the extra step of configuring the solution. But one thing that I see that's missing is that people love the tool. They get enamored. It's a low code, no code tool. People get enamored with the ease of it, and they dive headfirst into the fun part, the nuts and bolts, the configuration. And what I realized was that by doing some of the BA work that I later learned that's what that was, I was preventing myself from, having a lot of missteps and, building the wrong thing, not doing thorough discovery. So I didn't realize that things that I thought were just inherent to how I worked were part of an actual codified profession of business analysis. And it just made me more confident and more sure that that was the right track for me to be on.
Yeah. So what were you looking for when you did actually join the BA Essentials course?
So I was able to kind of get a start, but still to this day, there's not much formal training. Like almost no one I talk to receives formal BA training. in college or at their jobs. So everyone is pretty much, cobbling together best practices and, what they can, but you typically don't get that training on the job. And so I didn't feel like I was equipped to go for more advanced roles or just to be confident in interviewing and being ready to take on the actual title of Salesforce business analyst without having some type of training. And the BA Essentials made it affordable and easy and accessible for me to be able to get training on my own time while I was working, and actually equip myself with that formal training piece that I was looking for.
Right. So just like you had the experience, but there's that sense of a credential or just even, just being aware of best practices and what happens outside of your company. Because I know that for me, like so much happened when I started to move around a little bit between companies, right? And you start to see how the role is the same, but before you make that move, like it can benefit you to kind of get that broader perspective as well.
Well, another thing I love is going through the essentials. The vernacular, the vocabulary, the jargon, the deliverables. I didn't have that vocabulary. I just knew that I would make a list of questions. I wouldn't have that as called out as part of a formalized process that I went through. And working through that in essentials gave me that framework. And even I love the word framework. So just being able to say, this is my framework for how I approach projects, like that just sounds so confident.
So official, right? Like,
Totally.
yeah. So what were some of you were able to apply it right away or figure out that you had been applying it, but now have a framework to reference? What were some of your other takeaways?
One of the biggest things for me is I use the plan, the template that we put together in Essentials. I use that to start doing my work in accordance with this process, and also using that to create deliverables for a portfolio. So that's one of my biggest tips. I'm giving this to everybody for free. If you watch this, you're free to steal it. But having a portfolio when you interview has just been a game changer for me, because a lot of people show up empty-handed and they talk about what they can do and they talk about what's on their resume. But when you apply the principles and the process to your current role, as you advocate that we do, and then you actually create deliverables out of that, that is something that's tangible that I would take and discuss on interviews. And I would lead with it. And I would say, hey, I've, done a process flow for this, or this is my approach. If they say, how would you approach, your projects? I can say, hey, this is how I would do it. Here's my deliverables. Let me walk you through that. And just having that takeaway is part of what I would say kind of helped me to fast track and get to more senior positions and to start getting the title of senior Salesforce business analyst instead of just business analyst or junior.
And you have moved on since then, right? You've changed companies, I'm not quite sure all of what has unfolded in the last 4 years. So I know where you're at now, but I don't know all the paths. So
I started off kind of at as a temporary contractor, like on a short-term contract. And from there, I was able to move into consulting. I did a stint in consulting. I was able to move into corporate. So I was a corporate employee for a Fortune 500, non-back-end contracting at a Fortune 100 consulting company. So one of the things that I think it enabled me to do, the confidence in having my framework and my processes. One, it's allowed me to, as I mentioned, kind of have that confidence and have that, tangible items to show when I interview. But two, when I go into these places, I'm always shocked to find that they don't have systems in place and they don't have processes. And so I become a leader because I do work off of the framework and I do work off of a project plan, and I do bring these best practices that I've gotten from your materials to my roles. And that's also helped me be seen as a leader and rise up the ranks and have my pick of kind of which way that I want to go in my career.
Right. And which roles really.
Yeah.
And beyond that, one of the things I'm so excited to share with everyone too is you're also training other Salesforce business analysts, right? So you are a champion and a leader within the organizations that you contract and consult for, but you're also spreading this to BAs outside of your organization. Do you want to talk a little bit more about your business and what you're doing with that?
Well, you definitely have been one of my inspirations to be able to take what I know as a Salesforce business analyst and to be able to help others with that. I always say I could never be as prolific as all the articles and the resources and the courses that you have. So I usually, refer people over to your materials for this excellent foundation. I call it, college caliber education that you provide. And then there's a kind of specialized piece that we have at Salesforce Business Analysts of how do we merge these best practices with the software specific skills. So I've been able to coach and mentor people, as well as have my own online event, which is a Salesforce Business Analyst Virtual Summit. And it's in its third iteration for the second year. So people have just, thanked me because a lot like I was when I was starting out, there wasn't a lot of information that was specific to them.
Mm-hmm.
And so the same way that I was able to kind of find you and, move forward on this path and use that to enhance my career, I'm helping to do that for other people.
Yeah, and we always get great feedback on your summits and everything that you put together. So you're doing some awesome stuff. And you're also now, I feel like there's so full circle because you also just joined our team as an instructor for Bridging the Gap. So like what was your motive? What was your interest in that or your passion for that? Maybe tell us a little bit more about that.
I think, like I said, just what you and the team have been able to do in terms of the training, like Bridging the Gap to me is the foremost resource to become a better business analyst on the internet, no matter where you are. And the quality of the information was something that I wanted to be a part of. One, because I feel like I never stopped learning. And so there were things that I knew as an instructor that I would get trained on and help to, help other people understand that would actually reinforce what I do on a day-to-day basis. And then also just giving back to the profession. Like I said, having people who do this work and who can give you feedback and who can work with you is priceless, because a lot of times you don't have that in your workplace. And even if you do, people don't necessarily have time to take you under their wing and, critique some of the things that you do. So I wanted to be a person who helped to train up other BAs and to help them to master the profession. So that they can experience some of the things that I've been able to. And it's just been, it totally is full circle from me going from reading your book and, just being like, oh my goodness, Laura Brandenburg, she's amazing. I tell everybody about her, to being a teammate of yours has been truly full circle.
Yeah, and we're here now in 2020, and it's like, we were reflecting like it was only 4 years ago, right? And in part of the reason I think that timeline was relatively condensed from not just being a senior BA, but also being now a champion and a leader on your own right and within our company, is because you really did have so much of that behind you, right? Like you had so much that you brought forward from before then, but like it's the awareness. And so there's that piece that clicks in that really can shift everything, is what I'm seeing. And that allowed you to then move much more quickly than you probably would have otherwise.
I think that, but also, again, like the resources that you provide, both paid and free, those really shortcut a lot of what you would try to figure out on your own. And I believe in, availing myself of other people's expertise. And so I was able, like I said, to, purchase some of your templates and use that to create, deliverables for interviews. That would have, I don't know how long that would have taken me had I not done that. So because I had that, kind of shortened curve, I think it really supported my trajectory.
So any other advice for somebody looking to follow in your footsteps who maybe thinks like they might be a BA or, is just kind of just exploring this path and wondering what their next step is? Like what would be your advice to them?
You know, I think there's a great article that you have on your site about transferable skills. And you talk about things that people do in their present role and their past positions that are part of what you do as a business analyst. And I think that if people take a look at that, if they're unsure if this is the right path, I think like me, they'll find out that they're doing a lot of the work already. And that they probably just need to merge their transferable skills with the actual best practices and a framework. And the best way to do that, I think, and the quickest way to do that would be to, to sign up for at least the essentials.
Awesome. Anything else you want to share before we close things out?
Just, I would say to also, I think, try to connect with other people. I know that you're really encouraging around people connecting and understanding that they're not by themselves. And I think it's kind of hard when you're embarking on this path, or again, maybe the people in your workplace are not, as ambitious as you may be, and not having people to talk to and to encourage you. So definitely making sure that you plug into the BA community as much as you can. I think it also is something that makes things a lot easier.
Yeah, I would agree about, connecting both locally, online, virtually, like wherever you can find other like-minded BAs within your company. It's great advice. And all right, well, I'm just so honored that you shared everything you did today and that we were able to connect. And I really appreciate you sharing your story, Toni. And I'm grateful that this isn't the end for us, because we get to we partner together, and you're on the team, and we're continuing to work together. And it's been an honor and a pleasure to have you as part of what we do at Bridging the Gap. And so thank you so much
Well,
for being
Laura,
here
thank
today.
you again for kind of, leading and stepping out to provide this for people. Because I know, kind of being in the same uh, footsteps you're in, it's not easy to produce and to, kind of put all this together. So I just thank you for, kind of heeding that calling that you had to give back, because it's helped so many people. So thank you.
Thank you so much.